14th of December 1988, the police come to break up the crowds. After being evicted, 4ZZZ needs to find a home. Why? Because of this lady, Victoria Brazil, Student Union President. And the lady wrote, the guards guard the door, while protesters voice their disgust. But in the end, will it be a happy story? The University of Queensland St Lucia, established back in 1909, had 18,200 people enrol last year with studies in arts, commerce and economics, education, law, medicine, music and science. It looks like a quiet and peaceful place for people to study, but is it? At 4:17 a.m. on Wednesday the 14th of December 1988, 4ZZZ received an early Christmas present from the Student Union, an eviction notice. 4 union officials, including Victoria Brazil President and Cameron Spencerley Acting Secretary, burst into the station with 5 security guards. The announcers were cut off in the middle of this song, R.E.M. Orange Crush, and were told to vacate the premises. The 2 graveyard announcers were quick-witted enough to grab some equipment and important files on the way out. The union raiders then locked all the doors and posted guards. Important files were taken and the studio was made inoperative. We asked David Lennon, one of 4ZZZ's full-time staff, what happened on the 14th of December 1988.
On the 14th of December, well, 17 past 4, well, so they claim, the couple of executive members of the Student Union of Queensland University came to the studio and decided, well, this is our property, we're going to take it over. So they came in with this piece of paper, which wasn't really all that legal, and demanded that the on-air announcers at the time stop what they're playing and move out of the studios, which is quite illegal, really. It's a breach of a federal offence of the Broadcasting Act. But that's another story. So what happened is young Darren, the on-air announcer, gave me and Anita a ring. So 4:30 in the morning I got this ring and said, hey, they've taken us over. So within 10 minutes I was out here. I got Darren to go in and grab a superscope and a microphone, and we shot up to the transmitter site, which is at Mount Cootha. And from there we went to recorded a message which is basically saying, hey, they're taking us over, this isn't a hoax, this is real, and basically pleaded for help and pleaded for people to come out to the studios and give us support. And that just went over as a tape loop for a first hour or two until we found some cassettes with music on and just basically broadcasted that with a cassette deck we had up at the transmitter site. And anyway, we had hundreds of people here rather irate of what's happened, and they decided to storm the studios, and there was only about 3 security guards here, so they couldn't really do much with a couple of hundred people storming the studios, and we got the studios back. So what happened is they decided to cut the power. So we got to our generator around the back and started that up and went back on air, and we've been here ever since. They've made another attempt to kick us out by trying to make it a bit more legal by giving us a month's notice, and gave us till January the 19th, I think it was, to actually move out. And when that date came around, we refused to move out because it was a totally unreasonable amount of time for a public radio station to move premises and set up somewhere else, so we just stayed here. And nothing happened. They couldn't bring the police in because it was a civil issue. We had people staying here overnight just to protect the place, and we're still here. And what's happened is the university don't particularly want us here either. I mean, we don't particularly want to stay at the university, but it does take time to sort of move out. And the university have decided to take over the issue, much to the union's dismay. They've basically said, union, stay out, we're taking care of the whole issue, and we've been negotiating with them, and that we've now got till the 8th of July to move out, and that we find that's a lot more reasonable. And what we're doing now is trying to find a place to move into, which follows a few requirements of the station, which is basically line of sight with Mount Cootha, a concrete floor, so for the studios, and office space. And we're still looking, but it's not easy and it's not cheap. Hopefully looking for a place to buy, getting a loan and buying it, because otherwise, you know, we spend thousands of dollars in renovation and we might have to move out in a few years. So if it's ours, and we're totally independent radio, which is what our aim is for the last 13 years anyway.
Negotiations started between the union and Triple Z. At this stage, his situation was confused legally in the short and long term. After regaining access to the station, the celebrations at the station and at the Mount Cootha transmitter ran long and hard in the night. Hundreds of people packed the station, a mini radiothon was held, and donations poured in. Over $50,000 the first day. People paid up to $100 to hear their favourite songs, and hundreds of calls of support came in, local and interstate.
I'm not playing any music for anybody, and that includes myself, until somebody calls and pledges some money so that our station does not have to go off the air. I mean, why should I bother to play records for you if you're not even willing to call up and pledge a couple of dollars? A couple of dollars. It's not that much money.
Hello, you're on the air. Hello, you're on the air.
You may not find us on your TV, because in case you did not know, we're being brought to you by, brought to you on, brought to you by RADI.
The following week, negotiations continued. The union veiled its political motivations with excuses concerning the health and safety risks of the station, even though the station is no more a fire or health risk than the rest of the union complex. They also alleged a debt of $300,000. However, the only real debt between 4ZZZ and the union is a mortgage debenture of $63,000. All other monies paid by the union over the years were part of a fee-for-service contracts and constitutional allocations. In disgust with the union's action, Triple Z released songs like this one.
We want bananas, we want bananas, we want our radio station back.
But on the 3rd of March 1989, the union struck again between the students, wanting Miss Victoria to resign. The students gathered 2,200 signatures on a petition to get Victoria Brazil to resign. Even though forgery and fraud was found on the petition.
And fraud has been found on that petition. I regard that as a serious allegation. And if those allegations are going to be proven or otherwise, it will go to court, and I'm quite happy to abide by the decision of the court.
The police was called in to disperse the crowd, and the protesters left peacefully. A Street Kid Named Zed is a Jeffrey Dykstra production for the 9 Network.